I got a 50K business line of credit on, I think, like 4 or 5 of his businesses at KeyBank, all no doc.
So it was on one of the coaching calls that I listened to, and I literally stopped and wrote down the minutes because I was like, oh, wow. Okay. And that's why I went looking at Key Bank. And that's why I'm at where I'm at now because of you mentioned that in one of the calls. It was like five, you said he got like $250,000. It was like 50 for each one. And he went down the list of five.
Wow. Do you still have those notes by chance?
Yeah, I can go pull them up. I wrote it down. It's in one of the, it's like 4 or 5 calls from now, like before, and I wrote it down. But I'll go see if I can find it and I'll share it with you. But that was the reason I went to Key Bank was because you mentioned that in one of the coaching calls.
Wow, that's huge. Yeah, if you can by chance share those timestamps to Cayman, I'd love to go revisit that because that sounds huge.
Yeah. And I'll come back and if they confirm that they can do my out of state LLCs without any Secretary of State registration, I'll let you guys know that as well.
Cool, cool. Much appreciated. Jump in your question?
Yeah, so it's Chase. I've got 3 players, myself, my dad, my wife. I've got 3 LLCs. I haven't done anything. I have more than 20K in each of the accounts with Chase that's been sitting there for some time. That's also my personal bank. So I've been there for some time. All of my business accounts have been there. And really where I was getting a little maybe twisted around the axle, and it's just like a nuance is I know I can go in there and apply and do 100% ownership. But when I go through it with my wife or my dad on those same businesses, it was more of the mechanics of how do I do that? How do I manage that?
Yeah, I mean, if they're on board and their credit looks good too, it'd be the same thing, just going in, doing 3 applications. Figure out what the equity split is, whatever, and then it's just 3 applications same time.
Okay, so for each business, can I do all 3 of us for each business, or am I doing one person per business?
Okay, 3 LLCs and 3 people, I see.
Yeah, and I want to go for 2 cards. So overall, I'd like to get 2 cards across all 3 businesses. But what I'm not sure of is like, is there a limit of the amount of cards per business or per PG player, if you will? But I'm just trying to think through this, like how do I approach it? And I want to get the max funding, and I also need to get a relationship manager. I've been looking around in my area. I've had a couple I've talked to, and they weren't great. It was like some of the examples that other people were talking about. One girl had only been doing it like in training for like a year and she didn't really know anything. So I'm trying to find somebody in Texas that I can use, but I want to get the max that I can. If I can get 75K per card and get 2 of those and do that for each individual, then I should be sitting pretty. Is that possible?
You said Texas, right?
Yeah.
I think we have one in Texas. Has Cayman brought that up?
I pinged him via email. We've been chatting back and forth, and I just said I need to get it in front of an RM. So he sent me a link for some information to fill out. I know you guys have like a list in the guide, right? You're like, if we could put you in touch with an RM, you need this. But then he sent me a link to a jot form where I can put the information in there. And I think you guys connect me. But I just got that information from him today. So I've been thinking about it for for the past week or so, just trying to figure out how do I cycle through these with the 3 LLCs and with the 3 people to get the max funding possible.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Texas is one of the few states we have a solid RM in, so that interest should work for you. So you want to get 2 cards per person over 3 entities.
Well, let me ask you this. Are there a limit to the number of cards you can have per business? Meaning if I had 3 people on one business, did all 3 people get 2 cards, or is there a maximum amount of cards per business or credit line?
The max credit amount is 150 in business per person. I wouldn't have any person apply for more than 2 at a time, 2 cards. I don't believe there's a limit of cards per business. So what I probably would do is split it up where like business 1, it's something like Todd and Dad. Business 2, Dad and wife. Business 3, wife and Todd. And in that scenario, each person is getting 2 cards.
Interesting. So this is how you would play it if you were in this situation.
Yeah, I wouldn't have any single individual do more than 2 cards.
All right, so let's go with example 1, Todd and Dad. This is what I was trying to figure out with Cayman. So I'm 100% right now. I mean, it's Texas, so it's not like public. There's nothing on there that you can see as far as who owns what. It's all hearsay, or I can produce an offer agreement if I need to. Do I go in with me at 100% and process it and then come back later and change my dad to be 100% in terms of all the things, right? The bank has information in their systems around who the owners are, percentages, and then there's Dun and Bradstreet. And what else did Cayman mention? Or was it third one?
Business.
Experience small business. Yeah. My question to him was, do I have to like flip everybody out 100% and go through this? Or can I always be the majority owner and then bring somebody in else in as a minority owner, like a 20 or 25%, whatever the threshold is to be able to do it, where I can still have control and authority over the situation and they're just PG in that card.
You totally could, like, you do 100% and come back like a month later, whatever, and then that second person does a 50-50 split because the equity has changed. But for simplicity, I probably would just go in with the specific equity splits. So like Todd Dad, that's 50-50. Entity 2, for example, Dad Wife, 40-30-30, where you're 40 and they're 30. They just have to at least be 25%. And then Wife Todd on Entity 3, you could do 50-50.
I think what you're doing is what I'm looking for. Like I'm trying to figure out, can I be some type of controlling authority in all the cases, even though I'm not PGing like 3 times on 3 different cards, right? Because you're saying no more than 2 cards per person.
Yeah. Each applicant would be PGing their card.
Right. And so the nuance that I'm trying to work through is, do you think it's okay if I go in always with some type of majority ownership and somebody else has the 25 or more, but I can still kind of have the controlling authority over the business and the account and help them with getting the other card open? Or are they just going to have to go in there on their own and do it without me?
So in terms of potential contractual language, if a contract is asked for, then it could say something like, you have the ability to take all of their equity at any time, something like that contractually. In terms of on the bank account, they could be added on the bank account as a signer, and then you can remove them at any time. You can remove them right after they get approved.
Let me give you an example. Let's say we go with business one. Todd is 75%, my dad's 25%.
Okay.
I go in, we're meeting with the RM, whether it be Zoom or in person, whatever, but we're meeting with the RM. I do a credit application. He does one. We're both technically owners of the company with the percentages, and we go through with it. Then we go to business 2, where it's really my dad and my wife. But let's say the ownership split is 50 for me, 25 for him, 25 for her.
Mm-hmm.
We go in to get 2 more cards. I'm not applying. It's just her and him applying, but I can participate because I'm a majority owner in the company. Participate in the conversation is what I mean. Sorry, I wasn't being clear there. What I want to be able to do is basically be able to guide the discussion without relying on my wife and dad going in there and having to do it all by themselves, right? That's where I was going with the, can I be a majority and they be 25 or above? And then in situations that I'm not actually applying and it's just them, can I still be there to participate in the discussion because I'm a majority owner in the business? Even though on business 2, I may not be applying for a card, it would just be those 2.
Yeah, even if you weren't majority, you could still be participating in the conversation for sure.
Okay, got it. Cool. That was the little logistical thing that I was thinking about. What I didn't like was going in and saying, "Hey, I'm Todd. I own 100% of this company." And then I come back a few months later and it's like my dad owns 100% of the company, right? It just kind of felt weird, but it feels more natural if I can participate in every single discussion, even though I may not be applying for cards in one of the businesses, if that makes sense.
And like theoretically, even if you're 0%, which you're not, even if you were 0% and dad and wife were 50-50, but you were the CEO of the company or whatever member of the company,
Oh, yeah.
still could participate. So no issue there. Yeah, I think it's a solid plan though. I think it's a solid split.
That's a good point you make, because I could still have controlling. I could still have some type of contractual authority and not actually be an owner in the company. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah, and maybe if that's the case, it might even be more favorable. I don't know if there's a big difference if they're 25-25 or if they're like, 45-45 and you're 10 and then you can take all the equity at any time contractually.
Right.
I don't know if there's a difference of them coming in at 25-25 versus 45-45.
When I go to the bank on the whole equity contractual thing, I hear you. Like, I don't think I need to produce that, and if I do, I could probably just whip something up. But I don't think a bank is going to probably ask for any type of documentation on that. Correct? Have you seen it at Chase? Like, in the operating agreements, when you create them, usually your membership splits, and then if you do amendments and stuff later, you would break that down. I mean, I could go through all that if I had to, but have you typically seen them want to see something outside of me just telling them what it is?
I think more so when you open a bank account. If you go open a bank account with someone else, they sometimes want to see it at that point. If you already have the bank account open and then you're doing an application with the RM, I don't believe they're going to ask for any operating agreement at that time. I think I was removing like a former business partner on one entity at Bank of America, and I went in with the new operating agreement. I think I removed him and then added someone else. And I told her that, and I'm like, "Do you need to see the operating agreement to show that?" And she was like, "No, we just do what you say. We believe what you say." I'm like, "Okay." So I just threw the operating agreement in the trash because I didn't need it anymore.
And Jack, I would just say, me and my wife just switched 90%, 10%. So she was 90% for like year one. She's now 10%, like the finance person. I did have to go in when I went in to update the business checking accounts. I did have to like show operating agreement, but I do think what Jack's saying is true. Like it probably just depends on the branch and the banker who you're talking to, but it's probably good to have it in your back pocket.
Yeah. No, this is good. This is exactly what I needed.